Farming in Africa is notorious for its challenges, and for good reason. With vast stretches of land struggling against an unforgiving climate, farmers often have to focus more on survival than on growth. The Sahara Desert looms large, constantly pushing its sand across the land, choking the life out of crops. To make matters worse, the desert is steadily expanding, transforming even more already barren land into a lifeless, dry wasteland. Who's in a better position? The fortunate few whose land sit farther from the Sahara and enjoy more favorable climates. But in Namibia, located on the southwestern tip of the continent, things are different. This country, surrounded by desert on one side and the ocean on the other, has found a surprising solution to make its land thrive: seaweed. It may sound unconventional, but in Namibia, seaweed has become a key player in solving the country's farming woes. Here, traditional farming approaches just won't cut it, and innovative solutions are essential. This coastal African nation is proving that farming doesn't always have to follow the usual playbook. Take a look at this map, showing Namibia's rainfall patterns. While certain regions, mostly in the north and northeast, get a fair amount of rain, it's a tiny area. These areas receive 12 to 20 inches annually, which is decent, but not enough to sustain large-scale farming. The rest of the country? A different story. The majority of the land is dry, and many areas face severe water scarcity. If you follow the western and southern coasts, you'll see the Namib Desert, one of the most extreme environments on Earth. This vast desert, with its towering dunes, stretches over 200 miles along the Atlantic coastline. The conditions here are so harsh that they make other deserts, like China's Gobi Desert, look mild in comparison. In the Namib Desert, rainfall is almost non-existent, less than 0.08 inches annually. While places like the Gobi Desert might get 8 inches of rain per year, Namibia's desert gets almost nothing. Imagine the challenge of farming in such an environment. The temperatures near the shore remain relatively mild, between 48 degrees Fahrenheit and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. But inland, the heat becomes unbearable, often exceeding 113 degrees Fahrenheit during summer. At night, the desert cold can be just as extreme. The wind constantly blows, scattering sand and making the land even more inhospitable. Farming here is nearly impossible, and the few local plants that manage to survive are so specialized and small that they're of little practical use. But Namibia's challenges don't stop with the desert. Only 2% of the land has enough water for farming, and nearly all the rivers in the country are temporary, flowing only when there's enough rainfall. These rivers often dry up, leaving behind nothing more than dry valleys. In short, farming in Namibia is a serious struggle. Yet, despite these difficulties, agriculture still plays an important role in the country, supporting 25% to 40% of the population. However, as Namibia's population continues to grow by around 2% annually, the demand for fertile land is increasing, and the existing resources just aren't enough. That's where the sea comes in. Along Namibia's coastline, where the desert meets the Atlantic Ocean, is the cold Benguela Current, a nutrient-rich water flow that supports an unusual but highly effective solution: seaweed farming. The cool waters and abundant sunlight create ideal conditions for cultivating macrocystis, giant kelp, a type of seaweed. Kelp Blue, a pioneering company, has capitalized on this unique opportunity, establishing seaweed farms off Namibia's coast. Thanks to the nutrient-rich waters and favorable conditions, kelp grows rapidly, up to 24 inches per day. Kelp Blue now farms a massive 74 acres of seaweed, and the farm is expanding by 10 acres every month. The success of this seaweed farm is not just about planting and leaving it to grow. The team behind Kelp Blue carefully monitors the farm using various methods like acoustics, visual checks, water samples, and environmental testing. This allows them to ensure the best possible conditions and optimize the process. The seaweed harvested here is then taken to land, where it's used to create compost, enriching the soil and making it possible to grow plants in places that would otherwise be unsuitable for farming. So, how does seaweed help with farming? Well, in areas where the soil is poor and lacking essential nutrients, plants often struggle to grow. They produce fewer fruits, grow more slowly, and in the long run, the soil deteriorates further. Chemicals can be used to help plants grow, but these can have harmful side effects, both for the environment and for the people consuming the crops. Kelp is different. It contains all the essential macro and micro elements needed for healthy plant growth, and it's a natural alternative to harmful chemicals. As it decomposes, seaweed boosts the activity of plant cells, regulating water flow, and helping plants better survive dry spells. It also strengthens plants, making them more resistant to heat waves and soil salinity, both common issues in Namibia's harsh environment. The results speak for themselves. When used as a fertilizer, kelp has improved crop yields dramatically. Grapes grown with kelp showed a 200% increase in nitrogen uptake and a 3.5% improvement in calcium mobility. Wheat, barley, and corn have all seen similar improvements, with kelp boosting yields and producing larger, healthier crops. For instance, corn grown with seaweed fertilizer had an average plant height of 38 inches, compared to just 24 inches for those grown without it. The yield from the seaweed-treated corn was more than double that of the untreated crop. Watermelons, too, have benefited from this natural fertilizer, with the seaweed-treated melons growing 18 inches long, compared to just 12 inches for those grown without it. The yield from seaweed-fertilized plots was also significantly higher, 107 pounds per plot compared to 72 pounds without the seaweed. But seaweed farming in Namibia doesn't just benefit the land. It also plays a crucial role in supporting marine biodiversity. Kelp forests are like underwater jungles, providing a habitat for a variety of marine creatures. These seaweed forests attract fish, invertebrates, and other seaweed species, creating a thriving ecosystem beneath the surface. In neighboring Kenya, seaweed is also making a difference. The village of Moazaro, once dependent on crops like cassava and maize, turned to seaweed farming after a devastating drought wiped out their traditional crops. The village started planting seaweed along the shore, and by 2008, seaweed farming had spread to 20 villages. With the help of the World Bank and Coastal Development, Kenya established a processing plant that adds value to seaweed products. Today, seaweed in Kenya is used to make soap, shampoo, lotions, and even food products. Kenya's seaweed industry has been a lifeline for many communities, and it's a growing export sector. In 2022, Kenya's seaweed industry produced nearly 100 tons, generating over $30,000 in income. This is a crucial revenue source for a country with limited resources. Similarly, in Tanzania, seaweed farming is the third largest export industry, supporting around 25,000 farmers. Seaweed's potential goes beyond farming and economic benefits. It also helps capture carbon dioxide, making it an excellent tool for combating climate change. Kelp absorbs carbon from the water through photosynthesis and stores it in solid and dissolved forms. This carbon is then locked away for long periods, sometimes over a century, making kelp farms a natural carbon sink. In Namibia, where industries like diamond and uranium mining contribute significantly to the country's carbon emissions, seaweed farming could play a vital role in mitigating these environmental impacts. However, for kelp to make a substantial impact on reducing Namibia's carbon footprint, the country would need to scale up its seaweed farming efforts. Lastly, seaweed may offer a solution to another pressing issue: plastic pollution. While Namibia isn't a major producer of plastic waste, the problem still exists. Recently, a cleanup team found large amounts of plastic waste along the country's beaches. In response, Namibia has banned single-use plastic bottles by 2025 and has already outlawed plastic straws. However, plastic pollution remains a growing concern. Seaweed could help solve this issue too. In Australia, researchers have developed an eco-friendly coating material made from seaweed, which could replace plastic in fast food packaging. This is just one example of how seaweed can be used to combat plastic waste. As Namibia explores the potential of seaweed farming, it might also consider using this versatile resource to help reduce its plastic pollution and protect its coastal environment. Seaweed farming has proven to be a game changer for agriculture, marine ecosystems, and even environmental conservation. In Namibia and beyond, it's clear that this simple, natural solution could have a profound impact on the future of farming, sustainability, and the fight against climate change.